Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing an impromptu video on these new Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow palettes. And they sent me two in the mail. The super neutral one was the one that caught my eye the most and the one that Instagram wanted to see. We have 9 shades in each of these palettes. The packaging is plastic, so I get why people are upset about the price tag, which is $81 Canadian. For a plastic packaging. It's outrageous to say the least, but we're gonna try the formula and see if the money has been put into the formula. So I have not touched these at all. I will have swatches for you. I also have the Denim Dimension, which I love the name of this one. It's such a pretty blue. And they also had a green one that I thought was absolutely stunning, but different curated color stories depending on what you're looking for, different finishes. Does it look like my Wet n Wild palette for packaging? Yes, but we're going to move past that, see if the quality is there, and get some beautiful eye looks on the eyes. I hope the formula is there for these palettes. Starting off with this matte shade first in the crease. Just going to buff this in. That's a lot of pigment. Wow, I was not actually expecting that, and I tapped it off. Will I be able to blend this out? Wow, I cannot believe how much pigment was there. I'm gonna get a separate brush just to help blend that. It's blending out. Did look patchy at first, but I think that's honestly user error because I had no idea the pigment. So I'm just gonna go in with this light shade and I'm gonna put this underneath my brow. Also just to help blend out any harsh edges that I may have caused. It's blending out beautifully. That's really helping the blend. Softening up nicely. Love that. Then that same brush we used in the crease, I'm gonna go in with this shade, I think. It's a little bit more brown to it. This is just next level pigment. I personally prefer a more buildable formula myself, but it's just getting used to because I don't typically use eyeshadows with this much pigment. You can see I'm kind of surprised, but also I'm used to Mario's formula, which is very buildable because that's what I've been using a lot lately. Maybe I'm just out of practice. Just slowly building up that crease and going back with that blender brush and just blending out any harsh edges. I'm gonna go back in with that first shade we used just to keep the gradient. This says it's a neutral palette. I feel like it leans quite cool on my skin at least. It's a really pretty color story. This is what drew my eye. This particular color story. It's taking me a little bit to blend out, but it is blending out. So I'm gonna take this shade on my finger and use that all over the lid. This is a little soft, the formula. You can see kind of a finger indent, but it's very, very smooth. You don't even feel chunks of glitter. It's high impact too. And it is just shining. Wow. I love that. Just gonna try a little bit of this on the outer corner. Blend in to the matte, just for depth of shimmer. And then for funsies, we're just gonna top it with this shade. Play with all the special finishes here. This one's still smooth, but bigger reflex in it. Topping that to give some pop. This is the kind of color story that I personally absolutely love. And I think under my lash line, going in with these steel like gray, almost pulling blue shades. They're gray, but they have that kind of blue base. Under my eye will be so pretty. Just using the tip of this eyeshadow brush, running that along my lash line. Really think these two color stories specifically complement each other nicely. I feel like if you got both of these like I did, that you could combine them really easily. That's gonna be the perfect 90s shade. I'm gonna take the deeper of the two, put that in the very outer corner, just making my eye color pop and really just having a nice smoky eye on the bottom. I'm gonna connect that at the top actually. I think that's gonna look really pretty. Taking a pencil brush, a deep shade, just connecting that for a smoky wing. I'm gonna clean this up slightly after, just because it's a little bit thick. Feel like you can see where I'm going. Little bit of glitter fallout, but not too bad, honestly. I would normally do my eyes first, but in interest of time, I did my complexion. Gonna do mascara after, but we're gonna move on to the blue palette and create something with this one. I'm really drawn to this shade right here. A lot of these shades look very similar. I feel like they could have done a little bit of variation. I don't know. A few of these just look too similar to me, but I am colorblind, especially with blue, so I could be seeing totally different than what's the case. But it looks fairly similar to me. I'm gonna go bright. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. Wow. Again, the pigment. You can create the most beautiful mermaid look. I could have fun with this. Here's crying because the kids are outside. Okay, we are swooping that out. I'm keeping this eye a little lighter than I went with the last one, but you could go so many different ways, I feel. But I want to try out this shade right here. It's like a teal. I love that. Some fallout. The price of these is high. The packaging looks cheap. The eyeshadow formulas, I'm really, really impressed so far. I just think it's so pretty, and this eye was so easy to do. I'm gonna take a little bit of this shade in the outer corner. As much as I want to try out the darker shades, I love how light this looks and just ethereal. It's just so pretty, like I think mermaid. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this light shimmery shade. We're just gonna have fun with the shimmers and throw this in the inner corner. I feel like these shades would work best with a finger, but even with the brush, wow. Like they're picking up so well. I love it. I'm gonna just put it a little bit, bring it in. Just really lighten things up. That one had considerably more fallout, but it's because I used a brush. Gonna take that crease shade, which is so pretty. This is a shade I wouldn't normally use. So I'm trying to go out of my comfort zone here, because normally I would go with those deeper blues. See when you pack it on, the difference in the tone versus blended out. I'm very impressed with those formulas. Very impressed. I'm just gonna pop off camera, finish off my mascara, lashes, come back, and I will talk more about these palettes. So here are the completed 2 looks for the brand new Charlotte Tilbury 9-pan eyeshadow palettes. I love the quality of these. I was thinking off camera while I was finishing my eyes what the special shades remind me of, and they remind me of the Hypnotizing Pop Shots, which have so much pigment and impact to them, those special shades. The Charlotte Tilbury mattes, I've never been personally a fan of, only because I do much prefer something a little bit more buildable, because something so pigmented like they are, which isn't a bad thing, it's just harder for me, can go patchy in some cases, like the darker shades. If you're not careful, you just gotta work a little bit more with those, I feel, or know that you just have to go in with the tiniest amount. Caught me off guard, but I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just a personal preference. The price point, outrageous in my opinion, but the quality is there. They could have put a little bit more into the plastic packaging, but for me, honestly, it doesn't bother me that I can see through the lids and see the colors, because Dior does that. Wet n Wild, as I said, does. I love that palette. So regardless of the price point, I look at a palette with a clear lid and it doesn't bother me myself. I mean, this is my favorite highlighter palette ever. It's Dior. It's not something that's gonna put me off personally from purchasing, but I understand if you want that money there, since it is so pricey, to go to packaging. It makes sense. I get it. So totally up to you whether these are worth the buy or not. I think the formula is there. So if there's a specific color story you really gravitate towards, I think you're gonna be happy with the formula. I think these came out so beautifully and I cannot wait to create more looks. I did the same eyelash on both eyes so that it doesn't look too weird, me going about my day, but let me know. Do you like the neutral eye more, or do you like the blue eye? I love both. I think they turned out so good. This made me more excited for this launch, actually using these palettes, because when I saw them, the price point, I wasn't sure if I was gonna pick any up. These were 2 of the color stories that did catch my eye, along with the green one. I think if you like greens, like that palette really stands out to me in terms of green palettes that are on the market. I think that one's beautiful. Do we all have a neutral palette? You might not need this one, even though that was my personal favorite color story. But just look at the colors. Is it something you're gonna use? Do you love the color story? Does it resonate with you? The quality is there, and I think if you like these Pop Shot eyeshadow formulas, you're gonna love the special shades in those palettes. They're so, so good. They went on beautifully, absolutely smooth, doesn't feel chunky, minimal fallout, better with the finger than a brush, but still you can get so much pigment with a brush, which blew me away. I hope this video helps you out decide whether these palettes are worth the investment or not for you, or if it's a complete pass. Discuss in the comments. I'd love to know everyone's thoughts on these palettes. Let me know what your favorite color story is from the ones that have released. It's available on Charlotte Tilbury, Sephora, as of today when I'm filming this. So I hope to have this video up today so that you guys can see it on release day. But I'm very excited for the ones that I received. I'm really happy with the two they selected. And I think both of these are gonna work fantastically in conjunction with each other. So worked out really nice for what they selected. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll have both Charlotte Tilbury and Sephora linked below in case you care to purchase. Let me know what you wanna see next on my channel, and I will see you all in my next video.